looks pretty darn good. You've also been in the headlines. You were in the truck race last night, so we know that you're moving on. But for people watching Cup, last time we saw you, you and Noah Gragson, mean right hook. But you guys have talked about it. Tell me where you two stand now.
Yeah, look, it's not something that either of us want. No one can come, express his frustration, and I feel like every scenario is different, and I have a lot of conversations with drivers, and I am comfortable making them uncomfortable on the track, but I felt like last week a line was crossed, and I defended myself and my pit and my team. But we move on. We had a great conversation Monday. We ran some micro sprint cars out at Millbridge Monday night with Chevy and everybody in that program, and had some laughs and agreed to move on.
All right, Ross Chastain ready to move on and get out on the track for some practice and then qualifying coming up, Mike.
Thanks, Jamie. Looking sharp. This is what we're talking about. After the race at Kansas, it was, well, there it is. And security jumped right in very quickly to break it up after the first punch was thrown. And NASCAR announced Monday morning there would be no penalties to either driver for this expressive motion after last Sunday's very exciting race at Kansas.
Well, doesn't surprise me to see Elliott in that Hendrick Motorsports car to the top, but I want to talk about Erik Jones. Already speed in his car. This is an awesome track for Erik Jones and company on that 43 car. Good opportunity for him. We've been keeping an eye on him all weekend long.
However, he's under the weather. He is not feeling well, and it was questionable whether he would practice or not. They finally decided he would run some laps in the car. And this is a Richard Petty throwback scheme to when Richard had a vinyl top on the car.
There's a black vinyl top.
That's right.
Yes.
And it peeled back during the race, so they had to keep coming in to tape it down because it really ruined the aero.
Blowing the top off of it going so fast. But takes me back to Erik.
Yeah.
If he's sick and that car's that fast,
Yeah.
I don't know. You keep him down a little bit because he's hungry.
But two things, and we probably both experienced this. You go to a place that you love. You go to a place you really enjoy. We know that Erik Jones loves this place. We know he likes the rhythm of it. The other thing is, a lot of times you can be so keyed up when you get back to that place that you really enjoy, you overdrive it. If you're a little under the weather, you're just enough off that you fall into that rhythm a lot quicker. So, yeah, obviously, if he doesn't run all day long, that's fine. But he gets a few laps in, and he's back in the rhythm of where he was here before.
That boy ain't getting out of that car. Not on this road. He's going to go out there, give him a tire run here, look at the cambers, especially when I have speed in that race car. Confidence is everything when you go to a place. You nailed it there. Yeah. That's worth a tenth or two, and I think you see that in the speed of this car.
Now, that 45 had inspection issues. They failed inspection twice. Usually NASCAR tosses the car chief when that happens. They did pass on the third try. But yesterday, NASCAR tossed crew chief Billy Scott. And it wasn't because they failed inspection twice 2 weeks in a row. It was because they found something they really didn't like. Watch for more on that Tuesday, the day that penalties are usually announced.
So you're saying they may not be as lucky as Chastain and Gragson when it comes to this waving the fine and just saying,
I know what you're saying.
There's a difference between display of emotion.
That makes sense because the 45 has been winning a lot.
Right. Kyle, you're saying that line in the sand moves?
I guess it moved.
I always enjoy throwing back to
Just
our
a Bill
crew
Elliott?
chief, Larry McReynolds.
You know, Mike, I heard you talking earlier about how tight turns 3 and 4 is compared to 1 and 2, and we saw this in the race a year ago. Like Erik Jones, that 43 car that's fastest, he was downshifting in 3 and 4 from lap 1 and staying in high gear all the way down the front stretch through 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's definitely, see how that 9 shape is? It's a Ray Evernham car.
5 laps. He stayed in 4th gear all the way around, but as the tires started to fall off and the
It's either a Casey Kane throwback or
going to 3rd gear in
Bill
3
Elliott
and 4,
throwback.
or 2. He's downshifted in 3 and 4 to 4.
Well, you nailed the fall off, and that's what this track's all about. You know, the term fall off is on everybody's mind. They'll be on the back half of this.
Yep,
So here is the Ray Evernham Dodge that chases dad Bill Elliott, who will join us for stage 3 tomorrow. Drove to victory at the Brickyard. You know that stylized number 9 combined with the
2002.
Evernham E. And so Chase is throwing it back to one of his dad's famous paint schemes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm going to go back to your fall off stuff.
That was in 2002 when you won at the Brickyard.
This is going to be a crazy story.
Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt.
Of timing in the
Somebody else
first
is somebody
ignition
else
box, and
now.
then the
Bill
racetrack got
Elliott
hot
joins the
and
list of
slick,
winners
and
at the
you couldn't go to
Brickyard
the gas
400 at
line. You
Indy.
would knock it to the second ignition box.
Detune that, baby.
Detune it. And then you would pick up speed when you detuned it because it wasn't as harsh
This
on the
track
tires.
really is
When you
special,
go to the
isn't it?
gas,
It really is.
it could feather into it. Feather. They do it with shifting now a
Ooh,
little bit.
is that the
They're able to
T-Rex?
do that.
Stay on
I
that
recognize
for a second.
that.
All right, so then you get
Jeff
to
Gordon's
talking
T-Rex
about,
car. It was the Coca-Cola 600 car. Right?
including me.
Come on.
For the last
No,
few
no,
years,
I'm
I've
wrong,
been
I'm
a
wrong,
big
I'm wrong,
advocate
I'm
of
wrong.
we need horsepower
The car that
in
he
cars.
messed
I'm
up
not so
when Mark
sure.
Martin
I
won in
was talking to Larson about
1996.
this the other night.
The All-Star car. It's Jeff Gordon's All-Star
Put the
car.
horsepower back.
Yeah.
He was so
I'm probably not-
fast.
From what we've learned
And
on
I
a lot
think
of
the
these
car
racetracks,
motor
we
went out on the
faster
last
with
lap
less
or he ran out of
horsepower.
gas.
Your center corner speed's
That's
through
his
the
All-Star
roof,
car.
and your momentum is faster with less horsepower. So just because you implement that horsepower back
Road and
doesn't mean
All-Star.
that they're going to do it anyway.
Here it is.
No, listen, there's that fine line where I go back to the era when they run the
House are the Fast Five in Group A practice so far. In Turkey Night Grand Prix, and that midget paint scheme is replicated right there. Now that's one of the biggest races for those cars in the country, and the third oldest continuously held race in the United States.
You know, we've said it time and time again, but the difference that Tony Stewart made, you know, in our sport, of motorsports in general, will be felt for many years to come. I mean, obviously the champion he was behind the wheel and the difference he made in the Cup Series, but the difference he made racing, you know, all these local short tracks and grassroots America all across the country, he made an opportunity for guys like myself. The thing that I love about, you know, today's day and age is there's a new generation of Tony Stewart. I look at Kyle Larson as that guy, racing week in and week out all these local short tracks. That makes a difference. Him popping.
Ryan is throwing back to his idol, his dad.
and listen,
Surprised his dad with that die cat,
That is
which
cool.
was so cool. I
That
saw
is
that on
cool.
social media.
But Ryan is a throwback driver. He knows cars. He's a throwback to that kid that worked on his car, that put it together, that drug it to the racetrack, like you, Clint. He's just a throwback to that. But I want to go back to Tony a little bit. Tony opened that door. I think when we saw Mark Martin.
125th anniversary. Look at this logo, Goodyear. This is their original font from the first year they started. It's never been on a race tire like it is here. So they're throwing it back now for the Cup teams. They'll have 10 sets of tires for the race tomorrow, and I'm sure they're going to use all of them. They'll have 9 sets of stickers plus that one set that transfers over. But a lot of fun for the Goodyear 400 tomorrow, Mike.
Yeah, the Goodyear Blimp will be here, so you know it's a big event.
That is pretty cool, but they could have saved money and not put it on the right side tires because they're going to wear their Goodyear off.
I'm in business here, Kyle. Best 15, best 30, best 20. Looks like Chase Elliott and company's pretty fast. I'll tell you who else is.
And look at me going there the first time. I kind of hated Darlington, but now I like it. Like the video games I'm doing now, all the older ones and some of the newer ones, I hate Darlington. I can't drive it. And I haven't had one race yet. Last year, whenever I was racing as Casey Kane in that 9 Dodge, and the first race I actually won. It surprised me. The first race I won was at Darlington.
Knows the direction his car's going in.
All right, BJ McLeod
And
in
a
that
dominate.
magenta and chartreuse, kind of a Marty Robbins looking paint job there.
Almost
Let's
like
check with
him.
Larry Mack.
Yeah, Mike, Kyle, and Clint, there's several things that's significant about these drive offs. We're going to go back racing with about 100 laps to go. There will be teams that will split that stage in thirds, and that's how many laps you're going to have to run,
Chase
somewhere
Elliott.
between 30 to 35 to split it up in thirds.
Chase Elliott.
Thanks, Larry. Who got in trouble up in fourth?
I looked up and saw Cindric sideways spun coming on to pit road practicing. Watch this. See, he's already sideways there. No harm, no foul, but under green flag conditions, even if he's down to that mistake right there.
Yeah, this pit road, and you know it, Clint. This pit road is one of the hardest pit roads to judge, to get off the racetrack, unless you just come off on the backstretch.